You know, something I find interesting is the fact that Bardock, for years, was portrayed pretty weirdly. I mean, at first glance, we got this dude who is the most certified badass of all time in Dragon Ball, who is simultaneously a dick, a hero, a terrible father who left for the milk, a great father who actually cares about his kid, a schizo with no brain, a mentally stable, somewhat reasonable guy with a brain, and the origin of the Super Saiyan transformation while also not being the origination of the legendary Super Saiyan. What the actual hell is going on with this guy? Well, maybe we could piece this all together by going over all of his appearances. Firstly, we got the beginning of Z, or in my case, Z-Kai, because it's just better, where he is introduced as this badass, lower class Saiyan who stood up to Frieza for taking away the right to make more records. Stop lagging! Despite his passion and energy, however, he gets completely fried. But at the last moment, he realizes that one day, his son Kakarot will defeat Frieza as he is consumed by the destruction of his home. I mean, pretty badass opening, right? Well, let's take a step back and see how we actually got here. Starting with Bardock, Dragon Ball Z Special of Bardock. Yeah, we open with this badass scene of Bardock and his fellow brethren taking over a planet of mind readers who could predict their own death, but did nothing to prevent it? This definitely won't be a repeating thing. Let us introduce the crew. Firstly, we got Bread Guy. Get a good look at him because he does nothing after this. Next, we got Fat Ass. Yep, that is it. And he still has more personality than She-Hulk. Thirdly, we have Bad Voice Actor.
Come on, you need to go see the little tyke. You have enough time to stop in before our next assignment.
Like, holy shit! You could not sound less like a female if you tried. Bardock! How is your ship? See? Even I'm better at this than her. And lastly, his gay lover, Trevon. I mean, we don't even know who the wife of Bardock is in this version, so this is my new headcanon. Speaking of headcanon, Bardock is low-key a bad father in this universe. Because he barely remembers the name of the son he literally gave birth to, I think. He doesn't even know his power level, his bitch count, or even his birthday. Like, bro, you are trash! Also, can anybody explain why the Frieza Force decided to send Goku away in his space pod when they wanted all the Saiyans dead? Like, are they dumb? Or do they got a rat in their ranks? Because that could go either way right now. Shit, that actually sounds like a really good parlay. Well, anyway, Bardock gets attacked by one of the mind readers who couldn't save their own planet, who bestows upon him the power of being able to see the future and do literally nothing about it. He then communicates with this guy in sign language. While his dumbass friends and the smoker can't comprehend what's going on because they got a computer science degree, he also commits the greatest violation you can commit to a man, taking an inch off of Bardock's height so he can never achieve 5'9" status again. So then Bardock heals up being completely nude in order to absorb all the healing juices, and goes to the planet his friends are trying to take over, only to discover that the Frieza Force betrayed them because Frieza was afraid of them using their overtime benefits. Even his gay lover, Trevon, was not powerful enough to withstand the power of the Dodorian fruit. Now you're probably wondering why I keep calling Trevon Bardock's gay lover, and that is because he cares more about this dude than his literal son. He was genuinely gonna shed tears for this guy, but his son getting sent to Earth, who cares? So with nothing but vengeance on his mind, Bardock shows why he is him, by taking out all the Frieza goons single-handedly. And yeah, he did have a few schizo moments here and there, but even with that, he took them out rather easily. Unfortunately, not even Bardock is a match for the Dodorian fruit, and he gets mollywopped like someone else we know. But he actually survives because Bardock is low-key him! Unfortunately, he basically spends the rest of the movie unable to do basic dissection skills because he's a second grader. He also fails to convince the Saiyans about their impending doom. Kakarot, you are 5'9". You have the inch that the Schizo Man took away from me. Only you can defeat the Silver Dragon, Kakarot. Bardock knows that he doesn't stand a chance against Frieza, but maybe if he gets back in his pod, he can at least save himself. Whee! Well, even though we all know Bardock does not stand a single chance against Frieza, he does still manage to take out a few hundred of Frieza's soldiers and stand up to the big guy himself. And though he may lose to hubris, it's at least not as embarrassing as the way Vegeta's dad went out, starting the family tradition off strong. But what if hypothetically Bardock just didn't die somehow? Well, cause you see, my boy Marty and McFly actually pull up with a DeLorean, dumps up Bardock in the past, just without the car, and without the memories of their good time. He ends up on planet Vegeta, before it was infested with dirty monkey smell. But honestly, the Saiyans taking over this planet is kinda justified when you find out that the people who came here were just the Tylenol pills. Absolute garbage medicine, by the way. But Bardock doesn't have time to get sick. He must begin his training for Batman. And with the power of twerk push-ups, he'll eventually achieve this? Why is bro's ass facing towards the cave entrance? Hey, yo! Unfortunately, Frieza's grandmother, Playmate Igloo, ain't cool like that. And he low-key bombs the entire village because he cannot let Bardock's thrusting motions be unleashed upon the world. But alas, Bardock steps up to the ring, ready to test his mettle and the training he has done for all of his 20 minutes. Actually, it's less than that, what the fuck? But Bardock needs to face the music. He is still 5'8" from the mind reader, so realistically, he doesn't stand a chance against the chillest guy on the planet. But suddenly, Bardock's Tylenol bro, who's been giving him bread for the past 2 minutes, gets blown up. And with the massive loss in Bardock's parlay, he can feel nothing but anger, which transforms him into the legendary Super Saiyan. Bardock is finally 5'9", and with this extra inch on his side, he can finally beat the chill out of Igloo to the point where he is within an inch of his life. Literally. And so Bardock walks into the sunset to Aura Farm without a single clue where the hell he's actually going, but no need to worry. He's just getting lunch on a budget. And last but not least, we have got the best, most perfect version of my boy ever, Brian. Look, man, I know Z Bardock is low-key saucy like that, but he's an absolute meathead. He is a deadbeat dad who just happened to start caring about his son when he surpassed his father in height, and pretty much everything from that section to the logistics of the Frieza Force sending Goku to the planet when he literally knew that he wanted to kill all the Saiyans still makes no sense. But alas, Dragon Ball Super Bardock fixes everything. First and foremost, the destruction of Vegeta. There was little to no indication of Frieza doing it in Dragon Ball Z, other than the fact that Bardock could see the future. And even then, it took damn near the entire movie for Bardock to figure out what the visions actually meant. I mean, I know your entire planet getting blown up isn't a very clear indication of your entire planet getting blown up, but come on, man. However, Brian, my glorious, big-headed king, managed to figure it out in a matter of minutes. Firstly, Frieza suddenly summons all the Saiyans into one place for some odd reason. He never usually does anything like this, not to mention that he could have just communicated over the Scouters. And it is for this reason alone that Brian managed to dissect that Frieza was planning to blow up the planet with all the Saiyans on it. And on top of that, instead of Android 17 sending Goku to Earth, because why would the Frieza Force do that? Brian did it himself to protect his son, and he gave him armor! Like, holy shit, the bare necessities, finally! Like, serious question, why do they insist on having the children be butt booty naked in Z? What were you cooking, Akira? And on top of all of that, Bardock did still try to stand up to Frieza in the same way he did in Z. The only difference here is that he isn't schizo, and he doesn't really have a whole lot of screen time in this movie either, given that there's a million other things going on. Bardock as a character has always been a mess to me. His character premise always seemed cool. Goku's dad, who nobly sacrificed himself despite being a lower class Saiyan and standing up to an absolute colossal even when he knew he couldn't win. But getting Bardock to that point and actually expanding upon his character has always been weird. He's like the badass Saiyan who always tried to be good but was never truly given the opportunity to. But at the same time, bro is just an awful dad in Z, which really takes away from his character in my opinion. Plus, the entire mind reading thing to figure out that Frieza was gonna blow up the planet feels like nothing more than a plot device. As far as logistics go, Dragon Ball Super Bardock just makes far more sense in the grand scheme of things. Not to mention all the stuff he continues to do in the manga. King Vegeta wishes he could stand up to the same level as this lower class Saiyan, and that is how Dragon Ball Super perfected Bardock. Thanks for watching.